right? This is a need to know hack. If you have a client who's a business owner, especially if they ever in their life want to retire or exit their company, which I think as advisors is pretty important piece to you guys. So, what mindset problem prevents most business owners from exiting their company? And what it is something that you guys may or may not have heard of, but this is a pretty deep hack. It's called role identity fusion. And what is role identity fusion? All right, so this is when identity fusion is when somebody is so attached to a group, or it could be a religious group, it could be their community, it could be a political party, it could be even just their country, that who they are in their core becomes fused with what that group is. So they deeply identify with that group. So if you're talking about a business owner, this is huge. They now think that the business is a part of who they are. All right, so this is a major psychological hack, but also an issue when it comes to transitioning business. So if you're an advisor and you're working with a business owner who wants to retire, or even they just have a business and they say to you, well, I'm in my 50s, I don't need to retire yet. They may do all the succession planning in the world with you, and they may do all the planning on their own, but if they haven't crossed this boundary and they haven't done the psychological work, the emotional work, the mental work on separating themselves from their business, so separating that role identity from their business, then this is one of the biggest things that will kill their deal. And what do we talk about? What does their business provide them? What is role identity fusion? So it brings them, it's their purpose, right? It might be for a lot of business owners, it might be their routine. It might be their community, right? It might be their social network. So many people, if we're talking about somebody who's owned a business for 30, 40, 50 years, their staff might be their best friends, or at least the people that they're most familiar with. There's a good chance that they've spent more time in their business than they have with their own families, right? Their vendors might be big, their clients might be big. It's who they are, it's their status. It might be who they are in the community, right? Is that business owner. So when we start to talk to people about retiring and leaving their business, then it's going to be a game changer for them and a game changer for you to talk about, hey, what does this business mean for you, right? What does it look like when you look into retiring? All right, it's a huge part of their identity, a huge part of who they are. And if you're unable to, and if they're unable to separate that, there's a good chance you can do all the planning, all the beautiful planning you want, and they will not be able to move forward. So what can you do? It's help them envision their future. So as an advisor, this is one of the biggest things that you can do, and you're in a critical place to help them with this transition, even just opening up the conversation. All right, so I've got a couple questions that you guys can use to get into it with them. So what does life look like in retirement? Right, so talk about, okay, what do you want? And I'm sure this is already kind of in your questionnaire, but talk about, okay, what does it look like on a level with your family, right? What does it loop their spouse in, right? What does it look like? Are there things that you want? Are there things that you want to buy? So is there maybe a rental property that you want to have? Who are the key stakeholders that would be impacted by a sale? This is major. So many business owners, they've been running their business their whole life. They might not give proper weight to how critical their spouse, their partner, maybe even, and this is one that you have to be a little bit careful with, but maybe even a general manager or a key employee who's been with them for 20 years. So just asking them, hey, who are the other people who are going to be impacted when you retire? If you want to plan an exit, if you want that major liquidity event, which we want to make sure that you get, because that might be a key part of their financial plan, who else is involved in that? Who else is going to be significantly impacted? Is it their kids? Especially if it's their spouse, and we've seen this where the spouses aren't looped into the conversation, then they might retire or leave their business and not have anybody to share it with. Right? And one more question that you can ask them is, what does work provide for you? Right? And this is a big one aside from the money, because they're going to say, oh, okay, well, it provides me a salary and I can buy my boat and I can do X, Y, and Z. No. Now you're getting back to helping them with that purpose, helping them with what their role is, right? Talk to them about who they are and what they do on a day-to-day basis, right? What does it provide to them on a routine, on a structure level? And this is huge.